Thanks for joining me again today for another UX Teardown, and today we are going to look specifically at filtering options for your collections pages, and we're going to look at two different sites that have absolutely nothing to do with one another, but they offer different types of products but also different amount of products, and so we are going to look at just different ways that filtering can be done depending on the amount of products that you have in a store. So the first one we are going to look at is a site called Broya, and I think that's how you pronounce it. They sell bone broths and tallow and things of that nature. So they don't carry a ton of products on their site, as you'll see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click this, and it's going to bring me to an all collections page. So the way that they have their filtering options here set up is actually, and I think that this is super smart. It's basically their main navigation categories here, and they're using them as filters. So this works really well. One, because it's super clean. It sticks with the same color scheme and branding, so it's very consistent throughout the pages. It is basically the main navigation, so again, it's very recognizable. And it works because they don't have a ton of products. So I'm going to click on, let's see, shop classic bone broths, and it's going to surface the two products that fall under that category. So because they don't have a ton of products, there isn't really a need for a secondary filter option. When we look at the other site, you'll see sometimes that there needs to be room for more choice. But with this many products, that's not a need. So when I click through these, it surfaces all of the products in this category, so then I can easily pick from there. So again, this is a really great option because it's really clean. It's right on top. It's easy to navigate through. It's easy to understand. So it's, from a user perspective, it's really, really easy to filter between these. So now we're going to look at another site. Again, totally different products, but they offer a lot of products in many different variants. And so this is going to be another way to set up filtering depending on your store and the amount of products that you have. So it used to just be a lot of times you would see all the filters in drop downs. So we have a drop down here just for how to sort, but we're using different options for filters. So what they have up here, they actually are displaying some collections here up top, which is okay. We would assume that those are the collections that people are after most often. A lot of times with filters, what you'll see on collection pages is that brands will surface the most top searched products or categories up top here. So let's say, if you're on shoes, then, maybe they would have an icon or a picture for athletic shoes, boots, things along those lines. So the most popular collections that people will search for. And again, we're looking at good UX. We're looking at ease of use. So if we know that people go to a collection page and one of the first things, if they're looking at shoes, they filter by type of shoes, then sticking that red up top for them is a really good option. So they're not using this in that sense, but it's still okay because we're making the assumption that these are probably some pretty popular or perhaps the most searched collections. But what we have over here is a left side filter system. So when you look at the research is actually pretty heavily in favor of a left side navigation, which is essentially how this is functioning. And I know that some people don't really like the way that it looks, but I think it's good UX because it's off to the side. It doesn't take up a ton of room. And when we look at how users scan, how they read, left to right, they tend to actually favor the left side of the screen. And there's some decent research that talks about how things that are coming up on the right side of the screen are more likely to be disregarded. So it's right over here on the left, and it gives a lot of options, but none of these options are required, and you can choose multiple. So sometimes where users get stuck is that there'll be all these filter options, but they can't choose more than one. They could only look at pink shoes, or they could only look at red shoes, but the filters aren't set up in a way that allows them to view multiple options. So this is nice because I can really get super specific, and this might not be necessary for everybody, but if you've got like a bride, so these are bridal shoes, if you've got a bride coming onto the site and they know some of what they want, but they're unsure of like some of the specifics. So let's say they know that they want like a high heel, and they know that they wear a size 6. But what they don't know is if they want their shoes to be, white, the same color as their dress, or if they want to, have more fun with it. And so maybe they're going to look at like yellow, and they're going to look at blue, and they're saying, okay, I also want to look at some ivory shoes. It's going to be able to track all of the options here that I've picked, not just one or the other. And this works really well for brands that have a lot of products, because we need all of these options, because people are feasibly going to want to be able to filter by, size, color, heel height, but they also have some options here for the occasion and even the style. So like strappy shoes or open-toed shoes, which might not seem necessary to some, but if you've ever shopped for high heels specifically, this is very helpful. Having all of these options available and functional is a great idea, but because they're also off to the side, they're not invasive, they're not intrusive, they're not taking up a bunch of room on the page. So if I wanted to come to this page and I just wanted to browse for the shoes, I could also do that without being bothered by having to choose options on the left side, filtering options. So again, all of these are necessary on this site because of the amount of products. But when we look at the Bone Broth site, they don't have as many products. So the way that their filtering setup is different. So the thing that's important with filtering options is that you want to have them if you have over a certain amount of products, and depending on like what you're selling and the specifics of your products will determine how you want to set those up. But filtering options are really, really helpful for people, especially when we think about it from a user perspective or on the user journey. If they are interested in your product, but they're not exactly sure like what they're looking for, and they need a little bit more help along the way, filtering options are great for them to be able to look at specific products and get more information about them without feeling super overwhelmed by having to sift through everything. So these are just a couple of great options for you guys in regards to filters. I encourage you to try out or check out the filters on your own store to see how you can provide better UX for your customers. Well, thanks for joining me today, guys. I'll see you next time.